not only are you more attracted to me when I'm living my purpose, but I'm more attracted to me when I'm living my purpose. The word selfish needs to be completely transitioned to self-worthy, that I'm self-worthy enough, that I'm going to pour into myself. I'm going to treat myself like a king. I am going to treat myself like the number one asset. Hi, I'm Dave Tina.
And I'm Angie Tina.
Welcome to the 10-Year Marriage Podcast.
On this podcast, we answer the question, what if your marriage came with a 10-year contract?
How would you show up if there was a deadline in your relationship? What would your life look like in the future? And how would you recommit every day?
Come with us on this journey as we navigate as partners, entrepreneurs, and parents in this big life we've created.
So welcome to another episode of the 10-Year Marriage, the podcast where we go over what if you only had a 10-year commitment to each other? How would you show up in your relationship? How would you act differently? And after the 10 years, would you re-up? Today, we're going to be talking about seduction, attraction, and purpose. So I'm going to be asking you some questions. We didn't do as much back work on this because we wanted to have more of a natural
response.
Yeah. I want to interview you.
Okay.
I'm curious.
Bring it on.
One of the cool things about this entire game is that sometimes what happens during these episodes is you say things that I did not know, that we hadn't talked about. And I thought we have turned over every single stone. Mm-hmm. So let me just start off. What makes a man attractive to a woman like you? I mean...
What, I'm looking at him?
Everyone's going to go shave their heads and get a gray beard, right?
Yeah, exactly. No. So what first attracted to me to you? The physical attraction, I had been in, physical relationships before where it was just the physical attraction and then there was no substance whatsoever. And so the time in that part of my life when you and I had met, I had basically said listen, I don't want anything like what I've had in the past. I didn't want relationships. I didn't want somebody to have exes and kids and all of the things that comes with the people I was dating. And so when I first met you, I was oddly attracted to this confidence that you'd I don't know, there was something about you that just when you walked into the room, you had this confidence and this charisma about you that I was it was electric. And it wasn't just me that was attracted to it. Agents all over the company were would talk about you and, I'd get excited to see your Range Rover in the parking lot and things like that.
Range Rover helps.
Range Rover, it helps, but there's so many things that helped the attraction grow. And it's weird things. I remember walking into the bank one time and I saw your ex-girlfriend and I was holy shit, she's beautiful, she's sweet, she's kind, she's a good person. And that gave me this other trust in you that I was okay, he's not just, because at the time you were dating a bartender. And I was oh, does he just date these bartender girls or whatever? But seeing her, I was wow, it gave me a whole different perspective of what the man that you could be. Now, I think the most attractive thing in a man is, well, there's two things. One is a man supporting his woman, right? You have always treated me like a queen and not bow down and not put me on a pedestal because I've had that in my past, but true, honest respect and support. And there's been times where the support has maybe lagged a little bit and you've we've had to work on things, but ultimately you want to see me rise. You look at me the way I should have looked at myself, and I'm just starting to look at myself. And I think the second thing is when you show up and level up and step into the king that you are, that is by far the most attractive thing a man can do. When you show up and when you lead this family and there's no hesitation and you fucking make big, bold moves, that's when I'm all right, this is the guy I fucking...
So there's a lot to unpack there. And
I know, I went in 100 different directions.
Yeah, but... I kind of want to let you go with it. The first thing you mentioned was, or I believe is an energy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Or a presence.
100%.
It's kind of fun hearing you talk about that. Because even when I was, young, 16 and the guy. I wouldn't say I was like a classical or classic, good looking man. Mm-hmm. Like even the girls were like, well, Brian Walsh is the best looking boy in 10th grade, but Dave's the sexiest, right? And I was like, okay, I'll take it.
That's
right?
fair.
I'm there for it. I'm here for it. I think what you're saying, without putting words in your mouth, is you were attracted to my aura and my presence and my energy and what I brought
I think
to the table.
presence and energy are perfect words.
Yeah.
Like perfect.
And I don't think people talk about that often because if your energy isn't right, you're going to attract and repel depending upon.
Right.
Right. So you were feeling that, and that's probably what other people were feeling at the moment too. And if I give myself any credit, I do command a presence. I mean, we've talked about it in the past. I mean, I can, you guys could suck the energy out of the room, or I can completely fill it up, right? Hopefully, that's an 80-20 on that one. So not just me and you, I think most women are attracted to that. They're attracted to the whole thing. And I think, women get a bad rap because, you see a famous person or a sports figure and they always have a gorgeous woman, right? Or someone who's successful. And you get that gold digger mentality, which, by the way, she was making as much money or more than me when we met, just to give her some space. But that's not what they're attracted to.
No, they're attracted to the fullness of that person living in their highest self.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The man that they had to become to have that success,
Yep.
the journey, the courage, the risk, the commitment, those are the things that women are looking for, I believe, in a man to, in a relationship. And they're showing that in other areas of their life. And that kind of leads into the second part you were talking about. When you saw my exes, whether they were bartenders or the one that was dancing on the bar at Stoney's, or even the one that worked at the bank, right? You're looking, it's social proof.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that women and men are comparing, oh, okay.
Yeah. It gave me permission to be like, okay, I think I can trust this guy.
Yep. But
That's
there's
what
also a
that really
standard
did.
and a worthiness there too.
Totally.
Right?
100%.
Right? Because the other way, you had dated some really good looking men, right? One was a Chippendale dancer and one would, was a bodybuilder. I mean, but
Not that they were all there, but yes.
my father calls them shiny pennies, right? I've been down the same path too. In your past, if we always talk about, we might as well just say their names, Nikki and Tony.
Yep.
Right? Those are the ones that, I think gave each other the most social proof because they're good human beings.
Totally.
Right? Like a man that you've dated that I would have probably been friends with.
Yep.
Or a woman that I dated for a long time
That
you,
I am
you
friends
are
with.
friends with,
Yeah.
which we're going to have her on, which is going to be great. So these are two really big things about attraction. There's a joke in the movie Moneyball. If the baseball player has an ugly wife, they don't want him on the team because they have confidence issues. It's a funny joke.
I totally could understand that.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's there's got to be something about that human that is attracting, whether it's their light or whether it's their comfort in their own skin or whether it's how they communicate or their joy or something's got to be there where you're like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And who you choose is a reflection of the standard you hold for yourself. And I think that's what they're saying in that. And that's where the social proof.
And I don't
kind of
think
plays
it's
the game.
I agree. And I don't think it's ugly as just in an ugly look, right? Because like you said, people are attracted to all different people, right? I think, and we've talked about this a ton, especially with our girls, that beauty is not just on the outside. Most of the time it's more inside than it is outside, right?
Yeah.
I have so many friends.
You know what movie I think of?
Which one?
Shallow Hal.
Totally.
It's a great movie, right?
It's a great movie.
Where he's seeing everybody
Yeah.
as
Think
who
about
they
how
are.
many people though that have been fucking beautiful, and then you meet them or you see them and you're like, oh God, they just become so ugly in your brain because
Or someone
their
who's just an
inside is
average looking
ugh.
human and they're so amazing, you're
Yeah.
drawn to them, right? So I think this is kind of all playing together, this energy, presence, standard, social proof, right?
Totally.
And so that was the initial attraction. I don't want to say that could be manipulated, but I could have easily dated pretty girls and just been good at playing the game. Because I think a lot of people are kind of burnt out on the online dating scene, and right, like you can fake that part of it, but then you see behind the curtain, and that's what you were talking about. What attracts you now, right? Because what I'm hearing you say is the attraction to the man changes as a relationship grows.
Yeah.
Right.
I would agree with that. I mean, but seeing you as a father, seeing you as a friend, seeing you as a coach, all of those things, like you just stepping into your highest self. I keep using that word, but it's the truth. Like you really committing to those things, that's like sexy to me, right? When I see you coaching, or I see you having a really crazy deep conversation with a friend, or I see you snuggle with the girls and laugh with them. Like those things are the things that are attracting me. And like, those are the things that I'm like, holy shit. Like,
Do you
this
think
is
this
my
is
husband.
universal for most women?
I do.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm saying this as a woman in a woman and man relationship, but I think if a spouse isn't showing up for their family or the other person, right? Like, then that's how attraction is just lost. And you see so much of this in relationships where it's like, it's so obvious because you're the one looking, you're on the outside looking in, and it's like, God, if they just did this, or if they just committed to this, or you joke all the time, you're like, she just needs to get a good fuck. Like somebody just needs to lay her over the bed and fuck her, because then she'll like snap out of this like trance that they're in.
The reason why I say that is because it's a pattern interrupt.
Right. Exactly.
Right? And some people that the walls
There's
are
a
so,
trance.
You just have to pull the plug, right?
Yeah.
Like it's the release of not just a sexual release, but there's just a bottleneck of energy that is held in so tightly that it needs to get out.
Yeah.
And an orgasm is one of the quickest ways to get that release, whether it's a walk or a deep conversation. Like you got to break through, like, pow, like get out, right? And so, of course, I like to fuck around and be like, she needs a high, hard one, But I think what you're saying, though, is...
I've never heard you say that.
Never
term.
heard that? High, hard one?
No.
Really?
No.
No. I feel like I've said
Makes
that
sense.
a lot.
Okay, great.
A high, hard one. But a man with a plan. A man on a mission.
A man with a plan. I like that.
Right? Or a person
with purpose.
That is what I came up with recently. Right? And so I've noticed that not only are you more attracted to me when I'm living my purpose, but I'm more attracted to me when I'm living my purpose. Right?
Yeah.
And so what's wild is that I think we believe that we need to continually showing up for other people, which we do. But it's that the word selfish needs to be completely transitioned to self-worthy, right? That I'm self-worthy enough, that I'm going to pour into myself. I'm going to treat myself like a king. I am going to treat myself like the number one asset. And while I'm living this purpose, while I'm walking the walk, I'm not in this needy chasing energy. I'm in this attracting energy.
Yeah.
Which is counterintuitive. I think most people believe they need to like just totally pedestal and show up in this like needy energy in order to attract, which really that pushes away, that repels. I'll give you an example. I had a conversation with a guy recently. It turned into a coaching session, impromptu. So I held space and we were just going through like, what do you want? And it was obvious as a 42-year-old man who had never been married and never had kids, and he wants this so bad. And he's in a bad place, right? He makes decent money, but he's stuck. And he was like, I want this so bad. But even when he would say it, he'd be like, but I can't have it. That would follow, right? So he would say he wanted it, and then just to protect himself, he would be like, but not for me. I'm too old, right? So I started telling him some stories of some friends of mine that are older and married people that already had kids and then had kids and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I said, all right, let's go through what 2025 looks like for you, right? And I was like, well, what do you want to do physically? And he's like, I want to be able to use my hand. He has an issue with his hand. I was like, okay, what does that look like? He's like, surgery and and physical therapy. I was like, all right. So now you're getting moving. I was like, well, what do you want to do business-wise? He's like, well, I want to make this amount of money. I was like, all right, what would it require you to make this amount of money? He's like, I would have to get out there and do my calls and do all the things we talk about and spend some money on advertising. I'm like, all right, now we're filling up your life now. We're working on your hand. You have physical therapy. You're also talking about like these big goals about your business. Now you have a schedule on what you have to do to accomplish these goals in your business. He's like, okay. And I was like, all right, what in like your spirituality or personal growth do you want? I was like, do you want to travel? He's like, I want to learn Italian. I want to travel to Italy. I was like, okay. I was like, we're filling up your week. You're doing lead gen. You're doing physical therapy. You're meeting with doctors, right? You're learning Italian. You're planning a trip to Italy. Now you're a man with purpose. I was like, now when you go on a date, you are clear with your goals. And not only are you clear, because anyone can talk bullshit, but you're actually walking it. So now when that woman is like, when are you available? You're like, well, wait, I got physical therapy on this day because this hand's going to be strong. I got to do my Italian classes and lessons on this day. I'm lead generating because I want to do this big shit. And so now you're not like, yeah, I'm available Monday through Friday from 5 to 10 any single day. No, you got to work around. So you're already establishing that attraction.
Yep.
Now when you go on the date, you got shit to talk about. So this woman's been on dates with guys trying to get in her pants and all these things, talking about all the same shit. And you're sitting there talking about a man with a plan. And she is subconsciously going, this guy's inspiring. This guy has purpose. This guy has the energy I'm looking for. I said, so by living your life and living your purpose and chasing your dreams and goals, that alone will attract the woman that you're looking for. But if you do it the other way around, you're in trouble.
Yep.
Because if you think that you're going to find your purpose through a woman, you got problems.
Yeah.
And
and a woman doesn't want to carry that
hell
for
no.
a man.
See, the thing I think that worked so beautifully with us is we had a purpose individually. When we met, it threw us off how aligned our futures looked and how we wanted them to look. And what happened was we activated each other because I wanted this thing. I want to own businesses. I wanted to go to all the personal development stuff like Tony Robbins. I wanted to travel. I wanted to dance. I wanted to take risks, and so did you. And so when people are like, oh, when you met Angie, you just took off. I'm like, yeah. Because now I had a woman who like believed in the same things I believed. And I was like laser fucking focused at that point. So if you have a purpose and a plan and then you find somebody who's aligned, off to the races. So in that moment with this man, I was like, holy shit, the most attractive thing that we can do is just live inside of our mission and our vision and what we want.
Yeah.
Which is an individualistic thing.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
And I think a lot of people do call it selfish. And I think it's beautiful that you came up with that whole thing, because that could be the fucking name of a course and everything.
What?
A man with a plan.
Man with a plan?
Man with a plan.
You
I
like
love it.
You got another idea that we need to execute on and argue about?
No. But I
got to go buy a domain?
No. No, I don't know. I love everything that you were talking about.
So then you mentioned supporting someone else's vision.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so this is the other thing I know that men are having a problem with in today's society. And so if they don't have a purpose or a vision or a compelling future, and they find a woman who has one, it's intimidating to them.
Yeah.
And more women than ever know what they want. This is the time for women. They're rising so quickly, which is beautiful. I have 3 daughters.
I know.
I love it. But the man forgets, like a man with purpose, it's a requirement that he has a woman who wants to rise. Because he doesn't want to outrun her and lap her. He wants the fucking queen. If you ask successful men what the single most important decision they can make in their life to get to that success, it's the partner they choose. And if you look, every single successful man has this strong and powerful woman beside him that maybe you don't see. That all the decisions, all the risks, all the stress, all the anxiety, all the uncertainty is being supported in the most intimate of times, in the bedroom, at the kitchen table, in the holy shit, I'm freaking the fuck out. Are we in this together? There's always that woman
Yep.
who is like the foundational rock that is in some way stronger than the man. That without one, you don't have the other. So a strong man is not intimidated by that woman. He is desperate to find that woman because he's like, I don't want someone. But if he's not willing to rise and he is scared of doing what he needs to do and he sees the woman do it, then every time she goes and he doesn't, it's going to convict him as being a pussy.
Yeah. And it's going to create a wider and wider gap between the two of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where it should be like the wake-up call to go. For some reason in our relationship, and this is where attraction goes, I have allowed you to, or just got out of the way for you to take care of things that, depending upon the relationship, a man may take care of. Like, for instance, all our insurance.
I hate it.
Right? And I don't care. And I'm like, you're going to be talking to me. I don't know why my wife has been talking to you. She probably doesn't even like it. And I got this from here on out. And some people may watch this and be like, well, you're being too masculine. Or,
No, God, please.
yeah,
Take it.
you're the front man, for better or worse, of our luxury team. Right? If we break it down, I set the name, I put the people together, right? Like, and you have delivered. It's super successful. But I've noticed, and this is why being aligned and present and reading energies is so important, that you have been saying, I like this, but not in its current form. I want to spend more time with the horse. I want to cook more. I want this to be I get to do it, not I have to do it type thing.
Yep.
And I was noticing it. So one of my goals was like to become so abundant and successful that you don't have to feel that way. Now, I can't control that though. But knowing that I can handle that is probably a very attractive thing.
Yes. And to circle back to what we were talking about is you stepping into the commitments and sticking with your health plan and sticking with your workout plan and sticking with your business plan and all those things. It gives me permission to start letting go. And that is, obviously it's attractive, right? But it's also like this sense of like, God, like there's a sense of trust because like you just keep showing up. And I think relationships have a problem with that because if somebody's not showing up or they say they're going to and they don't and they continue not to, that just starts to erode the relationship, right? And so like it's the sexiest thing that there is like, I mean, I can tell you so many examples of different people that we know where it's like, if they just did if they just leveled up here or did this one thing, it would transform the relationship completely.
Well, energy and motion is attractive. That's energy and motion is emotion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so a man with a plan is a man who is actually in action.
Yep.
Right? And so I'm getting this ridiculous, absurdly expensive vehicle. It's attractive to myself because the person who can pull that off is the person I want to be. Not the person who needs to drive it slow and show it off to everybody. The man I have to commit to be. And so that is why I believe women are attracted to the best things in life, right? It's not a matter of the actual having of it. It's the journey of getting there and like having that feeling. So this all comes down to what are you going to do? Because if you're stagnant, you're going to attract stagnant people. If you have lost the ability to dream, then how, with a man or a woman with no vision and no purpose,
why would anybody want to go?
how is sex going to be good?
Yeah.
It's going to be two bodies like just masturbating inside of each other. Like there's no, there's no purpose. Like there's,
I get it.
like there's a great line in a Bush song called "There's no sex in your violence." Right? You're mad at me. I love when you're mad at me. You know what the worst thing you could do is be indifferent.
Yeah. If you think about anybody that anybody's attracted to, whether it's a celebrity, a performer, like whether they're theater, music, whatever they're performing in. Like we go to Cirque shows and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the like awe of these people. And I'm like, holy shit. Like these people, it's so sexy because they're living this like beautiful talent. They're in their flow state.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're connected to whatever source of God they have.
And I don't think you can, I don't think there's an unattractive person. If you're in a flow state, I don't think you can be unattractive. Like,
well, give someone a guitar and they're going to go up the ladder a couple points 100%. Right off the bat, right? Yeah.
In any flow state. Think about it. Like even
That's
a
why you're
doctor or
attracted to me
speaker
when
or
I coach.
anything. Yeah, exactly. When am I in my flow state when you're attracted to me?
I mean, I'm a man. You could just,
Exist.
every time you put on your panties, I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? No, the more important thing is I respect you. Mm-hmm. I respect the fact that like you bought this horse or we bought this horse and you are following through with it. Mm-hmm. Right? I love when you cook and enjoy it, not because I get the beneficiary of it, mm-hmm. because you're actually leaning into it. I love when you're doing this. Mm-hmm. When you dance, you're free. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful thing for you. Even not working, but getting ready to work, how excited you get about an idea or how, you like being little, like I call you Angela, right? Mm-hmm. But as far as flow state, I mean, I can't tell you what your flow states are, but when you're with the girls, you're free. When you're dancing, you're free. When we're having deep conversations, you're free. Maybe like the last 5 minutes of sex that we have, you're free, right?
How long? I mean, isn't that?
Come on.
I'm just kidding.
I got mad control.
I'm joking. But no, I agree. I have to let a couple minutes.
When you get out of your head?
Yeah.
What's weird with you, not weird, it's beautiful of you, is you are closer to your flow state than I am. So I think meaning like you live there more naturally. Mm-hmm. So the difference of like going from normal to flow is not a big jump.
Yeah, that's fair.
And when I go there, if I'm not like right now, I'm pretty close to it. I'm living it really like tight, like mm-hmm. I'm like locked in. But if I'm on the roller coaster, it could be big jumps. So the flow state feels even more magnified because I'm not there the entire time.
Yeah.
Because I'm more of an extreme human than you. But when I'm more consistent, like you just say, then you can trust me more.
Yep.
That I'm not going to go haywire. So that consistency is attractive in its own way, which to be successful mm-hmm. in any area of your life,
those things anyways,
you have to execute a plan and have some kind of consistency. And that's why it's like, I said to him, I'm like, just execute in one area. Mm-hmm. And that's the domino that knocks down all the other spots.
Yeah.
But you can't just start with the other person. You can't externally build your purpose and validation through another
otherwise
human
you're just
being.
chasing, and nobody likes chasing.
Exactly. So to wrap it up, what makes men attractive to beautiful women?
Presence, energy, commitment, drive, boldness, support.
There you go.
And love. That's it.
A man
on a mission. Or a man with a plan.
I mean, come on. I teed it up for you. A man with a plan. You were ready to get the domain. You were ready to build out a course. A man with a plan.
I already forgot.
You already forgot.
No, I didn't. A man with a plan.
A man with a plan.
Yep.
Beautiful. So while Angie doesn't speak for all women, I think there's a lot of takeaways we can get from this episode. How simple, just having presence and energy and being committed to your goals and what you want and being open about it. And just starting with yourself, improving yourself improves the chances of attracting exactly who you want. Because at the end of the day, we are who we attract. So let's become something better of who we are.